let's talk everything Lc7i. All right, what do we have here? Well, for first things first, we have the baddest on the block high level to low level adapter, meaning whatever's coming in is going to be what's coming out. It's just not going to be colored. So if you're looking for the best results with high level to low level, that's why they make this, because it's going to give you the best output possible. It's not going to induce any of its own problems for your signal. We have 1, 2, 3 pairs of inputs, and then we have our power. This is a powered high level to low level, meaning this needs power to function. It's not a passive, it's full active. We have a ground and a 12 volts, and then you have remote in and remote out. If you're gonna be using GTO, you just need to use the remote out. It will use the signal coming into the main to generate a remote turn on to power your amplifier. If you don't want to use GTO, like we don't in this situation, you have to turn it off. On the instructions over here, this guy right here, it gives you a diagram. This diagram is for inside of this. You have to open it up, and you have to come over here to this one where it says GTO on and defeat. It ships default on. We want to go ahead and put it on defeat. That'll allow it to turn on from an external source and then repeat the process out to the other product. The other thing in this case that we want to look at is auto mode. Now what auto mode is designed to do is take whatever's feeding channel 2 and copy it over to channel 3. And the reason why it would do that is you have your front, your rear, and in this case no sub. So it sees what's coming in rear and it goes ahead and puts it out of the sub channel. That may or may not be an issue. If you have a full range rear output that has subwoofer signal on it, you don't have an issue there. Whatever's coming into here, it'll feed into this internally, and that's what this portion of the instruction is showing you right here where it says auto mode. Feeds 3 if no sub signal is present. Comes into here, jumps down, and it passes out the sound. If your channel inputs 2, meaning your rear, sucks and it doesn't have any sub sound to it, you definitely don't want to do that. That would be bad. How do you fix it? There's a couple different solutions for this. The main, or in this case front, have a full range sub signal. You can feed those into 2 and it will go ahead and give you a full range sub signal. And then you can feed your rear into main. How do you find out if you need to do this backwards? You need to either A, listen with your ears to the speakers and see if you can tell if your speaker's putting out full range, or 2, plug an RTA into the output and see what the heck is going on there. Now the other option of course is to just turn it off, and you can always loop whatever's in front out to 3. Get inside of the Lc7i. There's 2 screws on here on the top, there's 2 screws here on the back. They are a pointy tip 1, not a pointy tip 2. And then you just kind of pull from this area and it's gonna come off. What we're looking for is this right here, the GTO. You want to look for this pattern here. There's 2 banks here, there's the auto mode, and there's the GTO, which is right here. Pull up on it, push it back down. It's a simple jumper. Now the GTO is turned off. We'll be able to run our accessory into this, and it'll output to the amplifier to turn it on. These 2 banks here we didn't talk about. These are for summing. And what summing would be used for, which we're not doing in this car, would be if we have, let's say, a tweeter, mid, and sub, or we have a tweeter and a mid and rear, or anything where we need to take more than 1 signal and join them together to make 1 signal. That's what these banks are for. Get the top back on. The one thing I like to do on this is turn everything all the way down before we start installing it. Fernando just finished putting all the speakers in. I just showed you how we're going to be hooking up the Lc7i. Now the last part of this, which is the biggest part, is the amp and where we're going to put the 2 pieces. We just talked about it, and conveniently they're both going to fit underneath the driver's seat. However, we have to make a unique amp mount to do it. Plan is, envision this seat not here, that's what Drill's getting ready to do, is right here towards the front is going to be the Lc7i. Towards the back is going to be the Kenwood amplifier. We're going to make the Kenwood amplifier come up on a slight rise so that the vent that's underneath the seat can still blow out the back, and then we'll put 2 L's that come off it on either side to go up underneath these mounts here and here. So that'll sit here. It'll be raised up about that high. That'll allow us to run the wires up the center console for signal, and then out up the driver's door sill into the hood for power and ground and all that fun stuff there. The seat out, while he's doing that, I'm going to start wiring up our 2 electronic pieces. We'll meet in the middle and get it in the car. Sound good, Fernando?
Totally.
Totally. He said totally. I guess he's ready. All right, let's get over to the bench. So how it's gonna sit underneath the seat is basically just like this. We're gonna have the RCAs come around to here. The power wire is gonna go out up the side of the truck. The speaker wires will come out and come along and come up and run up the center console this way. The other thing that we're gonna be installing is a bass knob. This is the ARC1, which is compatible with the Lc7i. We just wanna make sure we have this plugged in, because nothing sucks worse than getting it all in and realizing, oh crap, I forgot to plug in the cable for the bass knob. amplifiers and the processor are done. This was the mount as we talked about. Came out perfect. It's raised up here. As you can see, I can put my finger underneath it. He put an S-bend here, so this raises this up a little higher. These are the two mounts that are going to go up underneath the seats. Here's our Lc7i. We have the one piece of fast wire here that is going to go up to power the speakers. This piece of fast wire here is going to be for the signal coming into it. It's also going to feed the remote turn on in. We have a remote turn on out going over here along with our power and grounds. Subwire ran shielded 12 gauge because of the length. We have two 4 gauge wires, power and ground, shielded there again. Get this into the car. How are your chips?
Yeah, awesome.
Figured they would be. Yeah, little hot sauce. Hot sauce. So we just got the amplifier in, we got our wires up into the dash. We went ahead and attached our harnesses. We went with a white and a gray piece of 5-star logo. They match on the amplifier, the white and gray that is there. One is input, one is output. That way there again, we can easily look at the amplifier and see what the heck is going on if we ever needed to. The last thing I needed to run was this bass knob into the dash so that Fernando wants to mount it in one of these knockouts here. We just need to zip tie this up and then we get the radio back in. These aftermarket harnesses are a little bit different in size than the fact you do have to push a little bit harder to get them in because they're close, they're just not always 100%. I managed to get it all back into the dash and it fit. Put 2 screws in it just for now so that we can do all our tuning and stuff like that, and then we'll add in the last 2 screws when we're done. So we're in the home stretch now that the radio is in. The last 2 things we have on is 1, hook up the fuse underneath the hood, meaning it's already in, we just need to run the wire to it, and 2 is put the bass knob in. So let's take a look at the fuse under the hood. I just finished that. It was like magic. I know I said it, it's done. Both wires are in, shrink wrapped, and the hole in the firewall, which is right there. Fernando's right there working on the bass knob. Actually, I just thought of one more thing we need to do. We need to get into the back and hook up the sub because that's the wire's back there, but it's not hooked up. So let's go do that. And the wire up into here across the back behind this because we took it out. And here is our wire here. Did on the end is we put 2 ferrules. This is our Pioneer box. These are metal brackets, and if we bend this into an L, that'll allow us to grab onto these hooks here, hold this nice and tight. Basically just like this, so hook on like there. So that's it, we have all the pieces in place now. Now for the ever so crucial, turn it on. Check balance and fader. I know that sounds trivial, but it's something you want to do. Make sure that all 4 corners are moving in the right direction. After all, if you're doing something like time correction or individual channel level controls, having the speakers playing in the right order is kind of important. So you just do the laps around the car. And we're good there. The other thing that's nice to do while you're here is adjust all your bass, mid, and treble down to their 0 points. Of course, you're going to adjust those later on, especially in this case. We're only doing an Lc7i. We're not using anything with an EQ, so we're definitely going to be playing with those. But for right now, we just want to make sure they're at their 0 points. We have the seat tipped back. We're going to play some music and keep an eye on this maximize light right here. That's going to tell us when our input levels are set the way we want them. This is the light here, is the maximize light. We're looking for that. We have our amps unplugged at the moment. We're just going to try to get our gain. So as you can see, that's coming on. We'll turn it back a little bit. We'll work our next one over. Want to make sure that's off. Turn on. Back it down. We have that where we want it. Turn the volume back down and we'll plug our amplifier back in. Now there isn't a lot that we can do for the existing sound. Obviously we're not doing any form of EQ, so really all we're using the LC for is level matching, and if he needs it, the AccuBass. Let's give it a final listen and... Alright, quick adjustment on the subwoofer level. Don't be afraid to make little changes. A lot of the times when you're adjusting your EQ or your cross or everything, it's like you don't hear a difference. So you're like, oh, I didn't go far enough. Believe it or not, the difference between, like, if you just go, that could make all the difference in the world with a different song. Play different stuff. A lot of the times it's like, there's something, and then you just, ooh, and you're like, ah. Just like now, we knew there was something missing. We just needed dude, literally, like a 30 seconds of an inch more on the gain for the sub. Turn the other ones down to 30 seconds of an inch. Major difference in sound. Just something to think about. The little differences make big differences. It doesn't matter how many times we do the plug and play focals. That tweeter that they use for this, it's a very impressive tweeter. It's a metal tweeter, which I'm not a fan of, but this metal tweeter, Focal does a really nice job on their metal tweeters. Here's my thoughts on this system. Obviously, it would benefit from some form of an EQ. We had the debate over whether or not he should do roadkill. He opted out. He's like, this is a work truck. I don't really want to put $500–600 for the roadkill into it. I was like, dude, it's your truck. I get it. You like it?
Yeah.
It sounds good?
It sounds good.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, for what this is, the price point we had to deal with, the level of product we put in is all really nice stuff. We kept the factory radio. Honestly, for Toyota, it RTA'd pretty good, because I mean, we've looked at some Toyotas in the past, and it's like, oh my God. Yeah, like the big full-size truck is just absolutely a nightmare to look at. It almost makes me want to cry. But this one sounds good. I'm happy. I like it. I think the volume is good. Fits all the criteria that he was interested in. Think of anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to play my song.
He's gonna play his song, and when he plays his song, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Thanks you. Birds flying high. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Thanks so much as always for watching. Fernando.
On to the next one.
Bam, just like that. Yeah, the next one's coming. Just hopefully not today. All right, play it.
Okay.
He doesn't like him, doesn't want to play it. Please wait.